Hey, Shalom Marcus, welcome back. Passion Jim Islam, giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Chakwadash. Want to give double honors unto the elders, the apostles of GMS. Shalom out there to the hopeful, let's push news, truth, and all sincerity. Back again with another video, right? More articles from or about Davos, and this one's been covered by the Washington Post, right? And it's got as a title, this is the worry in Davos: globalization is under siege, right? So as you be saying, the elites, some of the world's elites, they're gathering together for this conference or whatever in Davos, and it seems to be a lot of pessimism, you know, around this one, right? Because of the things that are happening on the earth, man. Because the earth is messed up, man. The earth is real messed up right now, worse than it's been, right, for a long, long, long time, right? And things are only gonna get worse, okay, until it becomes the worst time ever in history. You know what I'm saying? And it's gonna get there. You know, it's getting there, right? And yeah, there seems to be a lot of pessimism. You know, quite people want a downer around this meeting, right? So I'm gonna read some of this, man. I'm gonna bring some scriptures out, man, just to show you, right? The prophecies are coming to pass, man. Okay, and they're gonna grow and you know until they're fully fulfilled, man. All right. So it says, Davos, Switzerland. A decade ago, political power brokers and corporate bigwigs gathered here in the Swiss Alps under an upbeat theme. It was a time for resilient dynamism. There we go. Yeah, that sounds right. So declared the organizer of the 2030 meeting of the World Economic Forum. Right. So there was upbeat then. Right. 10 years ago. Right. So after the travails of the global crisis, financial crisis, they explained the world was now in a post-crisis stage, right? So they got past the worst part of it. Now it's time to rebuild, right? So it was the incumbent on the elites convened Davos to usher in further reforms in the service of economic sustainability and competitiveness. Perennial WEF watchwords that tap into the liberal dogma that long underlaid its proceedings, where the desire to do good need not to interfere with profit margins. Yeah, whatever. Right? But anyway, 10 years on, there seems to be less optimism. Instead of a post-crisis, right, moment, it is more common talk of a permacrisis. A permacrisis, like a never-ending crisis. Let's see if it pops. Okay, what permacrisis, what it means, and why it's the word of the year. That was 2022, right? 2023 ain't gonna be any better. So it might as well be the word for this year too, right? The Collins Dictionary word of the year is of 2022 is permacrisis. As accolades go, the management blah, blah, blah. The word most widely understood as portmanteau of permanent and crisis. Okay, that's a flashy word there, isn't it? Of permanent and crisis has been in use for a little longer. Okay, just explain what it means, man. Damn. All right, so permacrisis is a term that perfectly embodies the dizzying sense of lurching from one unprecedented event to another, as as we wonder bleakly what new horrors might be around the corner. Now that reminds me of scripture already. Let me just quickly scan this quick. It's not giving a straight definition, man. But anyway, permanent and crisis, a combination of permanent and crisis, right? Like one that doesn't seem to stop, right? That's how man are feeling right now because we're in a special time right now. Um, oh, where you at? Right. This sounds like this a lot, right? This is from Amos chapter 5, and Because this is the special time we're in, right? Verse 18 says, "Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light." We're in that time of darkness, man. Right? It says, so as if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him. Right? So you went from one peril, one crisis. Let's put it this way, right? If a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, so you fell into the hands of the bear. He's like, oh shit. Okay, now you're trying to duck out from the bear. It says, or went into a house and leaned his hand on the wall and a serpent bit him. So you're just falling into one problem into the next, one crisis into the next. Now the word crisis in the Greek means judgment. Right? So this is all the Lord, man. This is all the Lord's doing. He's bringing down this kingdom. Right? With a sustaining destruction, man. Right? That's what's occurring right now, and that's what the prophecy states. Right? Let me grab this now then, since I said that, right? This is 2 Ezra chapter 16, verse 37. Yeah, skip from 37. It says, "Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack." Right? They're not slack. Right? They're putting on the pressure, man. Right? So as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringing forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains come past her womb. Which pains when the child coming forth, they slack not a moment. Right? That's why you're in permanent crisis. You're not in a crisis and then a post crisis, and then like they were talking about 10 years ago, right? They're going from one thing into another thing, into another thing, into another thing. Okay, and in each time it seems to be getting worse. Okay, just like the contractions, they get harder, they get more painful, right? And they become more frequent as you get closer to the time. Right? This is what this world is, this is where the stage of the world is at right now. Okay, it's about to come to its climax, so to speak, its end. Right? The day of the Lord is coming. Okay? It says, "Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth." Permacrisis. The plagues are part of the judgment. Right? That's why the men are calling it permacrisis, man. Or polycrisis. I see other words, other statements say the polycrisis, which poly I believe just means many. Right? Because there's many problems in the world, man. Just like this prophecy said there would be. People are underestimating the power of this book, man. That's really underestimating it. Yeah, they would like to think it's a fairy tale. It's just a book, but but it's a living book. is the difference, man. It's a spirit, a living spirit, right? And these words, these prophecies, right? This spirit of the Lord is what dictates, the direction of the world, man. Everything the Lord spoke is, comes to fruition. It manifests. All right. It says, "Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn." Okay, the world shall mourn. The word mourn, you look it up in Hebrew, means to sigh or to moan, to groan. Right? And you can't tell me that the people are not in that condition right now. People are finding it hard right now. Okay, the people on earth are not happy. You might have a few of them that try and ignore shit. Trying to they participate in distractions. They might still go out on a Friday night or whatever, get drunk, vomit, pass out on the floor and shit. But they're generally bad signs. If you're getting so drunk, so fucked up that you just passed out and vomit up there, you trying to hide for something, man. Your life is depressing. So the people are not in a good place mentally, financially, physically. The men are ill, men are poor, and the mentally they're fucked. So yeah, the people are in mourning right now. Okay, as the inflation goes up, as the energy prices go up, and whatever, the food prices go up. Okay, people are losing their jobs. Yeah, that's the time we're in, right? It says, "And the world shall mourn, and sorrows shall come upon it on every side," everywhere you look. going into polycrisis, mini crisis. Everywhere you look is a problem, a major one that and more that lurking in the background. More problems waiting to happen. Because as much as there are problems in the earth right now, they're not at their peak. And this is the scary thing, man. If people are suffering and complaining now, uh, let's just say this is still early stages. This is nothing like what the peak is going to be. Not, you don't understand, man. Right? It's not even peak right yet. All right. Let me get Daniel. Right. Daniel 12 and 1 says, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was. Now, there's a lot of bad things that happened on the earth, a lot of bad events that took place, and kind of crazy shit happened, right? But this, what we're about to see, what we're about to experience, has never existed on the earth, man, since there was a nation, right? The Lord made the nations after the flood, and flood was a terrible time, no doubt. But this situation right here is gonna be, a more sustained and prolonged suffering on the planet, right? The flood came and kind of done away everybody in one fell swoop. Floods stayed around for what, 40 days, 40 nights, whatever, right? This ain't gonna be done in one day. This the Lord's gonna make people suffer, man, for a period of time, however long that time is, right? But it's not gonna happen and last over one day. People are gonna slowly go into it and be pained going through it. Okay, until the Lord come and end everything. And even then it ain't gonna stop, because those that are left are gonna be put in chains and gonna get whipped up for a long time after that. But the elect, we have hope. Okay, the Lord's gonna save his elect. All right. So we have hope that we're gonna survive and endure, these hard times that are coming. Okay, but this is the end for the heathen, man, the Edomites, and all this kingdom, all of the world. Okay, that part of this world, man, they're finished. All right, but as it says here, right, it says and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time shall thy people be delivered. Okay, not everybody, but thy people, who are the Israelites, as we know, shall be delivered. Everyone that should be found written in the book. Okay, the elect. All right, so so that's what's going on, right? These is all being played out right now, right? So yeah, so back here, it says 10 years on, there seems to be less optimism. Instead of a post-crisis moment, it is more common talk of a permacrisis or polycrisis, of a world buckling under a never-ending cascade of calamity, right? Judgment, right? It says war, climate catastrophe, okay, the weather patterns, right? The Lord being said in the hurricanes, and earthquakes, and volcanoes, and what else? Tsunamis, flash flooding, all kinds of stuff, man. Right? I mean, they might tell you it's because of the CO2 and that we need to cut carbon emissions and that shit, but it's the most high, sending the angels to do the work. You know what I'm saying? Right? So climate catastrophes, energy price chaos, inflation, epidemics of hunger and disease. That's what the world is going through right now, man. This is madness, right? Political instability, right? And widening economic inequality, right? That's what's going on right now in the world. That's why this world's so messed up, you know. And like I said, it's all judgment, man. Okay, all judgment. Let's see, we're here. This is Matthew 24, verse 3, right? It says, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? Okay, so the things we're witnessing are signs. Signs that are telling us that this is the end. Now, the majority of people on the earth won't want to accept that because they want to believe their kingdom going to go on forever, and they got plans they want to fulfill, and their hopes and dreams are in this place, right? So they're going to want to believe it's going to continue. But I'm pretty sure many of the ancient world and these different empires that existed before, they thought the same way, right? They had dreams and things that they wanted to do, but guess what? They were taken down, destroyed, and this place is going to be no different. Okay, this place is crumbling away. Everybody's dreams and hopes are going to crumble with it. Yeah, so the scriptures say the fashion of this world passeth away. Right? Anybody that wants to be attached to this world, man, you're gonna pass away with it. It's really quite simple, right? Verse 4, and Yahweh answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, right? The anointed one, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Right? See that you not be troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet, right? So he mentioned the wars, okay? The war in Ukraine, these other wars in the Middle East, and these different conflicts and cyber warfare, all these things that are going on right now. Russia, China, America, and was it Taiwan, all that shit, man. Okay, Israel, Iran, all that going on, right? For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines. Okay, all right, famines. What did it say here? Epidemics of hunger. Okay, famine. Okay, that's just a nice way of saying it. Right? Pestilences. Okay, that's disease. Right? So what we had, the disease here. Yeah, disease here. Right? And earthquakes in diverse places. Okay, that covers climate catastrophe, whatever. Right? It's all happening simultaneously in the world, everywhere in the world. These are not isolated incidences, right? So all these are the beginning of sorrows. So like I said, man, we've not even hit the peak of it all. All these are the beginning. These are like the first set of contractions you started feeling. Your woman, she might be pregnant for a while. She don't really, I mean, she's carrying the child, but she's not, she's not in labor yet. She ain't gotten there yet. But now the labor pains are hitting. It's like, oh shit. She's all shocked and shit. It's like, oh fuck. And you're starting to feel it, but it's like we read, it's getting, the contractions getting harder, man. Until up until the time of the birth, it's the hardest. It's hardest at the end. It's not like it peaks in the middle and then it troughs, it goes down again. It's not that. It's a steady increase, right, all the way to the end of it, right? Which just show you something, man. There's not gonna be a let off, man. Things are only gonna get worse. Okay, and people are gonna be hurting the most. Okay, when the Yahushua turns up, and death might be a kind embracing that day. To end your misery. All right. Actually. All right, so like your rest is yeah, back continuing on from the paragraph. It says this year's WEF theme, a plaintive appeal to find cooperation in a fragmented world. The world is also fragmented. Hold on. What does the scripture say? The world is fragmented. I'll come back to that in a second. But let me get this right. Because Daniel chapter 2 tells you this. Verse 40 says, in the fourth kingdom, which is this kingdom, or more specifically Rome part 2, here the iron mixed with the clay, right? As the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, because we still, like, Rome was known for its military and how strong and mighty it was, right? And the battle tactics they had, the material that they had, you know, strong, right? So Esau still relies on that today, and Esau's military is man upgraded since them times, right? Esau still has the mightiest military on the earth, right? And so, yeah, they're strong. But as it goes on to say, it says, and whereas thou sawest, say, and as iron that breaketh all these shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. Esau's kingdom is divided. A fragmented world. That's what fragmented means. Shattered, broken up. Right? So the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron. Okay, so like I say, Europe have got NATO, which is, you know, got US is part of that, American military, right? So they're mighty, man. You got a mighty army, you know. So they collectively protect each other militarily, you know. So they're strong like that, but economically, not they ain't all on the same level. And in fact, realistically, none of them are great performers right now. Okay, some are just worse than others. Because all these nations are being brought down. They're all being brought low and being weakened, right? I mean, look, US has had to raise the debt ceiling again. You know what I mean? Because they can't afford their own shit. You know what I mean? They if that's not excessive living and excessive spend, I don't know what is, bro. You know what I'm saying? But they'll complain to everybody else how you gotta tighten your belts, right? But them, man, don't give two shits because they can just print it. And that's what they've been doing. That's why your money ain't worth nothing right now. Well, it's worth less and less. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, economically, they're all kind of screwed, right? But some are worse than others, right? So, it says, whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. But clay is not strong. Clay is weak. Clay is brittle. Right? It says, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. Everywhere Esau go, you know, he bringing everybody in. You know, because he want to use them. He want to, you know, make them productive members of society. Right? The more labor, the better. Right? Pay them low, pay them low wages if he can. You know, but he'll bring everybody in and make them conform or be refashioned to, you know, his ideologies of democracy and blah 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 blah. Right? So he mingles himself with the seed of men, but they should not cleave to one another. So like, we got all these different cultures and belief systems and stuff like that, right? Amongst each other, we don't all get along, even though, you know, we work and live in the same, you know, businesses and companies and whatever. You know, there's fundamental differences that keep us separate. All right. But they should not cleave to one another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. All right. So yeah, that's the state of this kingdom. Okay, it's strong militarily, but it's all broken up and fragmented, right? Like they said, we live in a fragmented world. Where's it gone? Yeah. To find, so this year the WF theme a plaintive appeal to find cooperation in a fragmented world. Right, this place is fragmented. Seems more possessed by the ruptures that have already taken place. It says in a press call with reporters last week, WF President Borge Brande said the meeting will happen against the most complex geopolitical and geoeconomic backdrop in decades. All right. I did this skip out. All right, second Ezra chapter 15 here, from the 14th verse, right? So woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Right, so the people, like I said, they're frustrated, they're in grief, they're grieving. Okay, they're sighing, they're groaning, right? Because of the problems that they're facing, right? And the leadership that is being conducted, right? It says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men. Okay, righteousness, bro, riotous, riotous. That's the one, isn't it? Riotous, right? They're gonna get mad, right? They're gonna get mad, and start being disobedient, like even more so. You got these protests going on now, but they're mostly peaceful. But yeah, that's all gonna change, man. People are gonna get extremely fed up, man, and start getting violent, right? And disobedient, anarchy, as they called it, right? Chaos. So for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, their powers, their authorities, right? Your politicians, your police forces, and all that kind of business, right? They ain't gonna listen to them. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And men shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Okay, pursuing what we read in Daniel 12. Things are going to get worse. Things are going to get bad. Bloody, violent, scary, right? That's all going to happen soon. Right? Back here, it says, top on the agenda are concerns over a possible global recession. A global recession. Right? Yeah, of course there is, right? There's also the vexing challenge of climate change. That's a made up issue. But anyway, it's part of the agenda of stripping rights from people, right? Or should I say privileges, you know? And the ongoing war in Ukraine and its downstream effects, including the snarling of the world's grain trade that contributed to the onset of famine conditions in swaths of sub-Saharan Africa, right? So them man got hit hard, but guess what? Europe is going to be like that too, right? Beneath all this is a deeper Davos anxiety, which I guess means is a bigger problem, right? Few institutions are so immediately connected to neoliberalism and the project of globalization as the Forum. In an age of ascendant nationalism and great power rivalry, everyone's becoming a bit more nationalistic, okay, which they see as a problem because that stops, as they put it, globalization, people coming together, because everybody's about their selves first. Everyone's being quote unquote selfish. They don't want to, share and do things. They want to be independent. They want to do things and be sovereign and do things on their own. They want to peel away from being told to do by like Britain and the Brexit. Britain wanted to be in control of their own laws and blah 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 blah. Look how that's turned out. That's a fucking shit. That's a fucking mess. But yeah, people are more feeling like that. The sentiment is growing, has been growing recently, you know. And what that scripture reminds me of, what is that scripture, man? Well, basically, these nations going back to their own. That's what it reminds me of. It's, people are going to flee back to their own countries, kind of thing. Similar to that. People are looking to be about themselves, their nation. All right. This is in an age of ascendant nationalism and great power rivalry, where the United States itself is waging trade wars. Where does globalization go? All right. So United States is mentioned specifically here as a problem, right? It's a problem. What they're doing is a problem for this idea of globalization, which means, according to prophecy, right, that the sentiment of America's goal is real, right? Because it says here in Revelation chapter 17 and 16, right? It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, okay, which represent NATO in the EU, right? These shall hate the whore. Okay, the whore represents America, right? And shall make her desolate and naked, right? And shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire, right? So again, the relationship between NATO and the EU, right, is gonna sour even more. Because bear in mind, a lot of these people, running these forums, they're in Europe. They've been held in Davos and blah 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 blah. A lot of these institutions are in Europe, right? And they're gonna have resentment against America for the things that they're doing, right? And it's gonna get so bad, the Lord's gonna have them in a complete contrary spirit to them, man, to the point where that hatred is gonna turn to action, man. Right? And eventually America is gonna be destroyed by them, as well as Russia. But everybody that has capability of shooting nukes and missiles and whatever, they're gonna shoot at America to destroy it. So even though we talk about Russia a lot and about how they're gonna destroy America, okay, the allies of or these current allies of America are going to turn on them too. Okay, i.e. Europe, NATO, right? They got nukes, right? So what he's saying here is that they're going to turn against them and destroy them, right? So the fact that they was mentioned as a problem is interesting, no? So all these things that these guys are talking about is all here in the scriptures. All these things that are happening, Permacrisis, man. It's all here though, right? So anyway, verse 17 says, "For God have put in their hearts to fulfill His will." No one here is doing their own thing. I know the elites think that they're doing their plans. They're following their ideas, but it's not. It's the Most High in control of them. Right, the Most High is manipulating them to do these things to end up ultimately destroying themselves, man, to bring their nation down. Same way the Most High hardened Pharaoh's heart to the end that Pharaoh and his kingdom is essentially destroyed. All right. So for God have put in their hearts to fulfill His will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, okay, NATO to you, right, until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, okay, which is in America, the harlot, the whore, right, which reigneth over the kings of the earth, okay, because America is still the big bad body. The beast, America sits on top of NATO because NATO is the head of NATO, man. They put the most funding into it. Remember them famous Trump speeches, man? He's going around these NATO nations and cursing them out because they ain't meeting the 2% or whatever they were meant to be putting into NATO for the military and that. They weren't doing it. Trump was cursing them out. So maybe we'll withdraw ours. Because America put the most in. Right now, be a big problem for NATO. All right, so them man had to put their money where their mouth is, essentially, right? So, yeah, and there's all this arrogancy, with the US and that. Yeah, eventually, man, that relationship's gonna turn bad. All right, so like I said, the fact that they mentioned US as an issue is interesting. All right. Cooperation in a fragmented world. Yes, this place is finished. Okay, the day of the Lord is fast approaching here, man. Okay, and like we read earlier, it's darkness and not light. Okay, so with that, I'm gonna say shalom, Lord, witness is edifying, and I'll catch you brothers and sisters on the next one, man. So next time I say shalom.